Yeah, so this might be the video that cost me some subscribers, but this is too important to ignore. Hey, what's going on, fam? How's it going? Welcome back to Peggy and Don Stage Ready, because if you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. This channel will be dedicated, focused only on helping you and your family be prepared for any type of emergency that this world may throw at you. So this is episode 3, the why. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why we're doing, why Peggy and I decided to prep, and why so many people are deciding to prep. I'm getting this question in the comments from the previous episode. They were talking about, okay, so why should we be more focused on being prepared, especially like why right now? And that's the one that usually gets people, why now? Why are we more focused on this now than we were in the past? I'm going to attempt to answer both of those questions, and I have 2 goals in mind. My first goal is I don't want to fear monger. I'm not trying to get anyone scared or anything like that. One good way of getting a lot of views and getting a lot of engagement and attention is to scare people into thinking they need to act now. Although I think this is extremely important, fear mongering will not be part of this video. So let me leave that at that. Now the second part is I've always tried to not involve politics in any of these videos. Now, so my goal is to not get political. That is a goal that I'm going to fail at in this video. Political actions and things like that impact our daily lives. And if you don't believe so, you're just not paying attention. So although I am going to mention a couple political news clips and stuff like that during this video, I'm gonna try not to get so political. But if it hurts your toes or something I say might offend you or something like that, I just encourage you to look at everything from the source and then make decisions on your own. With that being said, let's get started. All right, I want to start the conversation with why we prep. Now, this should be the easiest question out of all of them. Why are we preparing for anything? This is America. Well, now if you're watching this video, either your parents, your grandparents, or maybe even your great-grandparents went through the Great Depression. And for all those who came out of that, they all had one idea in mind: being prepared for hard times. They always want to be prepared for hard times. They never want to be caught flat-footed again. I'll let you look up what kind of things they went through during the Great Depression, but they all had the same mentality. And then they pass it on to their kids, and then they try to pass it on to their grandkids. But for some reason along the way, we either forgot the lessons they've learned or we just choose to ignore them. Maybe it's arrogance. Maybe it's like, you know what? We live in America. We got nothing to worry about. We're the most powerful country in the history of the world. We have this and we have more than anybody else has ever had. And so maybe it's a sense of arrogance that we don't need to be prepared because we're always going to have. That is a fallacy. That is a trap. Okay. It's all cycles. So just pay attention to what's going on. And that's why I want to bring up what I'm talking, the second part of the question that people are asking. Why now? What is going on now to where so many people are talking about being prepared? I'm going to start off with the finances. Now, most of y'all know that I did 25 plus years in the United States Army and I retired. I retired alongside of some great battle buddies, and they decided to work after the Army and, continue to serve their country in that capacity. They got GS positions. When we were going through our out processing for retirement, they said, hey, if you can get you a GS position, I don't care what it is, go for it, because those are the most secure positions. You got nothing to worry about. You will be able to stay in that position until you decide to retire for your second time. Well, in the past month, about 2,400 of those positions were removed, deleted, including 2 people that I personally know lost their jobs. The scary part about that is there are plans to eliminate 80,000 more positions. Now, in America right now, 60% of us, according to like statistics and everything, 60% of us are living check to check, month to month. 1 month, 2 month, 3 month disruption in finances could have us looking to family and friends and strangers for help. As bad as that sounds, but like I said, that might not be you. Maybe that's not you. Maybe you are in a much more secure position where if you went 3 or 4 months without a paycheck or without whatever income you rely on month to month, that you'll be able to get through that. But that's not everyone. And so what I am trying to put out is for those individuals who are in those situations, hey, let's go ahead and see what kind of preps we can make to ease that transition. There's not enough preps that you can bring into your home that's going to last you the rest of your life. But it can be a buffer to where if a 1 month disruption happened or 2 month disruption happened, or God forbid a 6 month disruption happened, you'll be able to get through that and move on to whatever you need to do for the second part of your life. You'll be able to make that transition. So what we're trying to create is a safety zone, a buffer to where you'll be able to continue on, especially if people rely on you, whether that could be your parents, whether that could be your kids, whether you could be a spouse, whoever. If somebody relies on you to take care of them financially or physically or health-wise, it's important that you don't let them down. Now as for the other parts that's going on right now. I mentioned the plans for possible 80,000 layoffs. A budget was recently passed that cut billions for the Department of Health and Human Services. Billions. It passed the House. It's getting ready to head to the Senate as we speak, as I'm recording this video. I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. But we're talking about billions from Health and Human Services. Why did that matter? Well, for one, the primary reason for bankruptcy in America is healthcare costs. So without the Health and Human Services that provides Medicaid to about 1/6 of all Americans, that's about 17% of all Americans, and more if you're in a poverty condition or in a state that has a low income, this could be extremely, extremely impactful. You can't just decide not to get your medicine. You can't just decide to stop taking care of your health. You have to be able to live. And these kinds of decisions are being made that will have long-term effects for almost everyone. I'm not saying everyone, I'm saying almost everyone. How many of y'all feel like Social Security is now 100% safe? How many of y'all feel like that the retirement accounts, 401ks, are completely safe? Take into account that we are entering the beginning phases of a recession. This sounds like mainstream media talking points, but nobody is willing to say that right now. And when I say nobody, I mean absolutely no one is willing to say that we're not heading towards a recession because of all the things that's going on right now. Some other things that you should be definitely aware of. Now, you know that currently there's a shortage of farm workers. For reasons that you all are fully aware of. There's a shortage of farm workers. There's also a whole bunch of farmers who could possibly be losing their farms because of unfulfilled government contracts that they were not planning for. So now we're looking at food shortages. That's one of the biggest ones for the prep community, is making sure that if there ever is a real food shortage, that we have some kind of buffer and a plan in place. I personally feel like we have never been this close to a food shortage in my personal lifetime. Even during the pandemic, when we were short on toilet paper and Lysol wipes and stuff like that, we were never this short on food. I feel like the food security in this country is in the balance. So maybe we're wrong, but you don't want to take that chance. That is why I'm answering the question, why are so many people paying attention? Why are so many people wanting to be prepared these days? Food security is going down. Now, maybe we'll have as much food, we just got to pay more for it. You know, maybe we'll have just as much food as we normally have, but now instead of paying $2, it's going to be $4 for a loaf of bread or whatever else it is. Who knows what's going to be impacted, but either way, having things now that you're paying today's prices for that you can use at tomorrow's prices until you're able to adjust to the new way things are going, that could be a huge help to you and your family and your loved ones. So that's another reason why we need to make sure, that's another reason why a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on today. So this was a very short but important video. I cannot wait to see what the comments say. If you have a rebuttal before you decide to unsubscribe, I would appreciate you leaving that rebuttal so we can actually have discussions about it. Maybe you know some things we don't know. If there's something I missed out about why it's so important to be prepared for emergencies that I just didn't cover, I welcome those. I welcome all comments. And when you see a comment that you like, hit that like button too, because we're trying to build a community here. When Peggy and I first started doing preparedness, we learned so much. We thought we knew a lot because we watched some videos, but we learned so much more from the comments. And people say, hey, go look into this and go look into that. So that's what I encourage you guys to do. If you're leaving a comment, read a few comments, agree with them and disagree with them, but keep it civil. Please keep it civil, because this is a community that we are building. It is not gonna be a politically minded. I'm probably not gonna mention any kind of politics after this video, possibly until things change. When that budget gets passed or failed, I might bring it up and mention it and stuff. But there are a few things that just can't be ignored. So you can choose to bury your head in the sand and just like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to think about it. But for those who do realize how impactful this could be to them and to others, then you should be paying attention. That is all I have for today. Like I said, it's a shorter video, but I can't wait to read the comments. And I just want to remind you guys to get out there and do something good for yourself and for others as well. Y'all take it easy, fam. Bye-bye.